Bulldogs at the moment. So Lachlan with a couple of goals. I think there'll be some changes, Mickey, in the way the Swans set themselves up in this half.
Well, it's interesting. Bruce Swash, Philandia, Bays and also O'Brien are coming off the ground, so I dare say they'll definitely change their front half structure. I think Lockett will certainly come out of the square, Mooney across centre half forward with Barry, and I wouldn't be surprised you have the other leading option, Lachlan coming out of the square with Lockett.
Robbo, you've just rejoined us now. The Doggies have come back out. We're hoping that Terry Wallace will talk to Dipper on the way across the ground with the Doggies training. He's with Dipper now. Dipper, down to you, mate.
Yeah, thanks very much, Bruce. Well, Terry, you got yourself back into that quarter with a long kick in the forward, but you were certainly struggling up there at the moment.
Yeah, look, we just need a target that we can aim to go to, and that's been lacking so far. We're trying to restructure things up a little bit then.
How are you seeing the game? It's very defensive, like as a man-on-man, very tactical.
Yeah, it's a very tight game, Dipper. I mean, we just got to try to get a break and get a few free-flowing goals, and that hasn't come so far.
Well done, buddy.
Thanks for that, Dip, and also to Terry Wallace.
Now,
Bruce,
we've
changed a few. Yes, go on, Dip.
Sorry, Bruce, I was just saying about the wind. I mean, a lot of people don't realise that even here they're surprised how strong it is. I just went into the middle of the ground, and it is certainly very strong, favouring the Swans end once again in this third quarter.
Dipper, Brad Weir's on, there's the flags. Brad Weir is on the interchange bench. He is limping pretty badly. He did the job on Schwass in the first half. Martin's come onto the ground for the Doggies, so that's a bit of a blow to Western Bulldogs here as we're about to start the second half. So we're off the ground. 7-7 to 4-4, not a whole lot in it. 2 goals either way makes an enormous difference in a low-scoring match. Stafford got his hand on it. Creswell had 15 possessions in the first half. Stafford a couple of back turns. Orchard hold of it. Handball was disciplined to Maxfield, taking a while. Will he take Ramiro on? Just panicked slightly. Got his boot to it. Rowan Smith, who had a very quiet first half, was on the interchange for a while. Bursts away. Handball to Ellis. Ellis can measure up here. I thought his game in the second quarter was outstanding. Good kick. Dimatina couldn't hold the mark. Running back, not all that easy. To Johnson. Johnson's high ball to centre wing. You'd back Stafford from here in hard Montgomery, but Stafford kept his eye on the footy and took the mark. First goal, pretty important here. The Swans with a handy break in a low scorer. Belts it wide. Underneath it, Maxfield. Nobody going with him in the end. He took a very easy mark. Now Lockett.
No one on the mark either.
Yep, and he can kick the distance here if he gets a crack at it. Puts it up high, but sprays it badly. That's a waste. So out on the full. 7-7 to 4-4.
That's Bruce, very interested. Brad Wheeler's off the ground with a severe corky. Very disappointed player. Also, Wayne Swass is also off the ground, and it looks like he has a problem with his ankle. So the 2 guys who play against each other are starting the game on the bench.
Well, we're just watching Wirra as he walks around with Steve Kolonyuk, and Luke Darcy is one of the other interchange players. That's Schwass being attended to by the trainers. The kick back towards half-back, gathered by Ramiro. 18 possessions in the first half to Jose Ramiro. And a little bit of a to-do there between Mark Orchard and Jose Ramiro, right in front of the umpire. So Darren Goldspink in total control. He will bounce about 45 metres from the Swans' goal. The Bulldogs were able to kick 2 goals to the left-hand end in the first term, but in answer to that, the Swans kicked 6. Liberatore's hand pass, well, the only person out there was Paul Roos, who's able to kick the ball forward. Lockett not able to take the mark. Maxfield, snapshot. He's missed 2 within 30 seconds. Both out of bounds on the full. So the free kick for the Western Bulldogs as we watch Steve Kolonyuk do a few stretching exercises on the boundary line. Mick?
It's interesting, Terry Wallace was trying to get Rowan Smith into the play. He's the loose man across half-back, trying to generate some run, as he said, after the half-time break. His direct opponent's Paul Roos at this stage of the game.
Telling kick comes to ground. Romero gets the bed, Robert, fires out the handball. He's got Garlick. He eludes the tackle from Paul Roos, goes in short and pinpoint accuracy to Southern, who then plays on. And the Doggies going for another goal, and it's strayed off the side of the boot by Michael Martin.
I always question a player when he gets across inside forward 50, why should he kick on his non-dominant side? On that occasion, I thought Martin had the time, the space to run into, balance, steady up and kick accordingly on his right side.
First goal is crucial. As the ball up, they go at it, left forward pocket for the Doggies. The Crummers trying very hard and forced through for a behind, which sees The Doggies 4-4, trailing Sydney 7-7.
Significant change for the Bulldogs with Southern down there to try and just create a little bit of desperation on the forward line, maybe.
Well, he does provide a contest. I think that's the reason why he's gone to the centre-half forward position, River.
Kelly to next to Creswell. Creswell at half-back, measures it. Neat kick, found McPherson almost up the centre wing. Back to Creswell. Creswell delivers, wants O'Loughlin. He can normally stretch Curly. Good contest, boundary throw in. Between probably almost up to right half forward. Centre wing and half forward. O'Loughlin, the multiple goal scorer in the first half for the Swans. That goal into the breeze was a very handy one. It was from 50 and he was able to carry the distance. Mooney, Wine just pushes him out of the way. O'Loughlin goes to ground. Ramiro over the top, tried to get it out. West was good in close quarters. McPherson's hands were excellent. Beautiful handball to Creswell, to Mooney. Mooney delivers to full forward. Armac for a big fly. The belt away from the Doggies at the back came from Dent. The handball by Cameron, who had a pretty quiet first half too. Dent under pressure from Armac. Yes, Maxwell's got hold of it. Kicks it back to Lockett with Ellis. Ellis holds his ground. Mooney to try and worry him out of it. Croft keeps his head and then delivers. He was cool in the end and found Dent.
So critical, Bruce, isn't it, that they hit their targets when they're not under what seems to be a lot of pressure, and that's letting the Western Bulldogs down badly at this stage. Montgomery has the ball at right half back. His kick, well, he's pretty well given it up. Stevens gathers quite nicely, and then after a bounce delivers into the pocket a little bit too far there for Paul Kelly. I have a feeling it may have been meant for the player a little shorter than Kelly in that situation, but still it has bounced over for a throw in, and that player may have been Leo Barry. Leo Barry with a goal, 8 possessions. Boundary throw in about 45 metres. The two number 15, Scotty Wine and Stafford, kicked over on the full by Scott West. Good pressure applied there by Cook. So the free kick to Cresswell just keeps on accumulating. Darren Cresswell and a mark to Stafford. Now this is what we've become accustomed to. The ploy of Stafford when the boundary throw in or a kick is taken from around about 50 metres, he just tries to back to assist with the marking contest with Lockett, and he's taken it about 20 metres out directly in front.
Not only that, Robbo, is the ability to run quicker than what his direct opponent Scott Wine could do. He really worked hard to get to the front of the goal square on that occasion. His work rate was far exceeded that of Scotty Wine's.
Well, if he kicks a goal and maybe one more, he will have done his job. He's hooked the kick and missed. Well, you would have nearly marked that one down as a certainty. Only 20 metres out directly in front. A crucial miss for the Swans. 7-8 to 4-5, back to a 21-point margin. Todd Curley to kick in for the Bulldogs.
It's been a frustrating kind of day for Stafford, giving away a few kicks. I think Wines maybe had the better of the ruck contests as the Doggies go long and hard looking for that man Wine, but it comes back down. Punched, rebounded by Kelly. He centres it. Plugger has to face the 3 Doggies, maybe not under as much pressure as he thought was Curley, and he's gone for the boundary line and will have a throw in right forward pocket for the Sydney Swans. 15 minutes left in this third quarter. So Stafford and Wind comes down. Crook trying to get in the action, but West gets a handball away. Johnson was in there, met heavily as we have a ball up. And there's a bit on here. Oh. The feeling starting to come through.
Now this will be interesting because there was an umpire right on the scene then.
He's found a free kick.
And he's found a report.
Paul Kelly's reported. Is it Paul Kelly?
Yep. Now that was just out of absolute frustration.
2 big names in a week. Chris Grant, now Paul Kelly. All the same, I don't think there was much in it, Robbo.
Well, there hasn't been much in a few over the last few weeks, and there's been players put out, Mick, so you don't want to risk going in front of the tribunal, do you, really?
I don't have to worry about that anymore, Robbo.
No, that's true.
See what I bet you there's a few players, Mick, that wish you were heading the tribunal right now.
Di Martina gets the ball away, comes down to Romero. He's been in everything today, Jose Romero, and gets a free kick too high. Says the umpire.
Definitely there over the shoulder.
Yep, and the crowd's starting to become a factor as Kolonyuk only finds Creswell right centre wing, And if he centres, he's got some options there. Maybe Troy Luff in the centre of ground, but goes very, very short and finds McPherson. McPherson now goes long. Kelly may be the target and takes a very, very strong mark.
There's that height factor again. As we've seen in the first quarter, Robbo, Bruce, Kelly pushing deep in the forward line, every opportunity he can, knowing that his direct opponent, I think Liberatore stands at 164 centimetres, so he's certainly got a height advantage on his direct opponent, but Kelly is a terrific player overhead.
Goes for goal. Wobbly kick, he's kicked it though. That's an important goal.
Chocolate is chocolate is chocolate is chocolate is chocolate. Chocolate is chocolate. Chocolate is chocolate is chocolate is chocolate is chocolate is Cadbury is chocolate is chocolate is chocolate is Cadbury is chocolate is Cadbury is chocolate. Chocolate is.
So 2 important goals kicked by the Sydney Swans captain Paul Kelly, being tagged, as we've become accustomed to, by Liberatore. Cook forces it forward. It's at right half forward, gathered by Maxfield. She could have given the hand pass off, and he has kicked it behind. And I think it may have been Kelly again making position across that half forward line to receive the hand pass, but Stuart Maxfield prepared to have a flying shot.
Rob, I just feel the difference between the two sides at this stage of the game. It's the Sydney midfielders are getting the ball centre forward, whereas the Western Bulldogs midfielders are getting in the back half and running into contest. There's no generation of flow in their play whatsoever.
No, they're into certainly one-on-ones on more occasions than the Swans, and here's O'Loughlin breaking clear. Kicks in the area there of Orchard and Ramiro. Maxfield this time gives the hand pass off. Missed its target, but Cresswell with plenty of time to recover. Back to Orchard. Nix appealing for it, but Orchard goes to the half-forward area proper. Scotty Wind, it rebounds off his shins. Brilliant snapping of the ball there by Stafford. To Rowan Wharf, to Nix. Cook, little hand pass. Snapshot there by Ahmed, and the mark is taken by Lockett.
We witnessed again the overlapping play by the Sydney Swans, pushing into their forward 50. But what great agility by a big man, Tony Lockett. It's like a slips catch that, Bruce.
Super mark, really.
Now, this is a certainty. Are we safe in saying that?
Robbo.
He's in the goal square, the player on the bunker. If he misses this, what are we going to do?
Give me twos on, I'd like to have something on.
Oh, dear. Tony Lockett, he's only the man on the markers, practically on the goal line, but very deliberate, professional, and he's kicked the goal for the Sydney team.
Want to share in $500,000 of cash and prizes? Then rush down to your local Tats Lotto outlet. Check out these fantastic 3D AFL Magic Vision collector magnets. Look for the hidden symbol, buy a Tats Lottery ticket and watch Channel 7 every Saturday night for your chance to win. It's called Magic Vision. 7:28 every Saturday night. So buy a Tats Lottery ticket, watch Channel 7 and you can win big time.
So crucial stage of the game for the Western Bulldogs. It is just starting to get away from them. They need to do something here. The quick reply a must if they're to get back into this game, and they're trying to generate that through Wind. It comes to ground. No one really got a clear possession. Ruse swoops onto it. Quick snap with the right. Running hard is Stevens. Takes it on the chest. Plays on. Runs around the mark and is found. Mickey O'Loughlin. I tell you what, the Swans are starting to get a stranglehold on this match, and having kicked one into the breeze from 50, you'd just about back him from here. Kicking for his third, Michael O'Loughlin. Very deliberate. The crowd comes as one, and you can put that one down. Number 3 for Mickey O'Loughlin.
One in each of the quarters. A good return, isn't it?
As we spoke about, Bruce, the setup certainly changed in the front half for the Sydney team. Lockett and O'Loughlin getting deep with Armat, but it's the presence of mind when to lead directly up the ground. O'Loughlin did that on that occasion. Stevens won the ball out here in the outer wing, but he had the presence of mind to wheel inside and get the ball quickly into the forward 50. It's interesting to note also, Robbo, over the last 6 occasions in the last decade, It's been 3-3, the Sydney versus Western Bulldogs team, but on every occasion, the winning margins exceeded 40 points.
It's exactly 40 points down, Mick. 69 plays 29.
10-9 to 4-5. Liver, Creswell, Kelly, one-way traffic at the moment. Kelly to full forward. Croft, Lockett at the back. Ellis, well done, squeezed it away. Kelly, who kicked it forward, is after it in a hurry. Cook across Liberatore. Back to Kelly. He'll probably come back to McPherson. He does now. McPherson can set it up. Little handball okay. Orchard's not really a long kick, though he just kicks it beautifully to Lockett. Lockett crunched, play on call, and through for a behind. So Tony, I thought, got a little push from the back and certainly crunched at the front. Didn't gutsy enough to stay in the front spot. And through for, no, it's a boundary throw in. Better for the Swans. 10-9, 4-5. Doggies are going to have to lift here. They need some inspiration from somewhere. They need to penetrate here and kick a couple and get back in. DiMartina, round the body, under pressure, wide, Maxfield and Garlick. Bouncing ball gives Garlick a chance, runs to the back of Maxfield, taken by Hudson. Hudson behind Curley, but he had time to stop. Wait, takes Cook on, wants to get his kick away in a hurry, gets to West, he's got Koliniuk short, goes over the top. They must score from this attack. Koliniuk's handball over the top. Southern's got to kick the goal. He goes on his right side, gets around, goes for it and puts it through from behind. That is a really bad miss. No, it's easy up here, but that's the one they needed.
At the other end of the ground, wasn't that a behind?
Thought it was.
Yeah, it must have hit the post. It must have bounced up and touched the post.
10-9, 4-6.
It may not be relevant, but gee whiz, it was surprising.
But big miss by Southern.
Yeah, it was too. He did everything right, getting back onto his right foot and then missing.
Wine on the bench, mate.
Well, that's an interesting move there by Terry Wallace, but they desperately needed that goal from Danny Southern. Terrific mark taken by Stafford. Away to McPherson. Now there's a push out.
Nice push out. Called throw.
A throw.
Certainly called throw, Robbo.
Well, Southern,
no one in the goal square.
Unguarded goal, and he kicks right to the line. It'll bounce through for a behind.
But on that last build-up, Bruce, probably from the positive side, it's the first time they've been able to transfer play, especially out of the back half. They use the ball very effectively, but they are critical misses in the context of the game, especially when you're trying to get back into the contest.
38 points is the margin. Nix with the footy, kicks to himself, and then will elect to come to basically the member's side. Stafford from behind, but an excellent mark taken by Danny Southern in front. And he'll kick the Bulldogs. No, he won't. He'll hand pass it out wide where Luke Darcy will kick it forward.
And Luke Darcy in turn goes in short. And this time they really do need a Hudson goal.
I think the reason why Scotty Wine's off the ground, I think they're trying to generate some run. Luke Darcy can provide that. Try to put the pressure back on Stafford.
So pinpoint there from Luke Darcy onto the chest of Paul Hudson. Distance shouldn't be a problem. He is a goal kicker. And he's hooked that as well. So missed opportunities for the Doggies. They've had several, a couple from Southern, that one from Hudson. And how many more chances are they going to get? Well, Wayne Schwass looking a little disconcerted on the boundary line. I believe has a bad ankle. Kelly kicks back in for the Sydney Swans. Penetrating kick, crumbing it beautifully was Rowan Wharf, and into space is Barry. Doesn't take it on the chest. He's pursued by Ellis. Well done by Ellis. Picks it up one hand and finds West. Cook maybe in the back. Yes, free kick.
Just gets a little exuberant, doesn't he, Troy Cook, with his attack on the football or the opposition player.
So, oh, what a mistake. He's gone in trying to find Cameron. Now he's under the pump by Leo Barry, assisting to West. Goes to ground. Smith finally gets it through Curley, but he's under siege. West, Cook, all in there, shirt front. And Johnson tries to clear it, but
Swans.
Oh, what a hustle by the Swannies. McPherson, and on his own there was Armat, but decides to centre only as far as Croft.
He kicks the ball to centre wing. Missed chance there because Armand, as Neil said, all on his own at half forward. McPherson going long. But at the moment, the Swans have got all the answers, haven't they? Deep into this third quarter. 10-9 to 4-8. Wayne Schwass having his ankle strapped here. That's the famous foot.
Bruce, I think Brooksy described it perfectly when he said hustling.
Yep.
The Swans' hustling has been terrific in close.
Ramiro off the side. Garlic was just bumped by Mooney. Good gather by Di Martina to Ramiro. Through the centre by Montgomery. Oh, Dunkley, that's a spectacular bit of play. He attacked the footy hard against Cox and took the mark. They want 50 but won't get it. Been so prolific this year. The Swans have kicked 20 goals in 3 of the matches and got 18 against West Coast. Today held up, but they can show defensively they're just as proficient. The Ruse mopping up, kicks the ball to centre wing. Good take there by Cameron. Cameron on the left, kicks the ball back to centre half forward. Southern, Dunkley went early, free kick to Southern. Southern's had a good quarter here. He's just missed a couple of goals. Now McPherson will take his time to get it back. Cox was on his own in the goal square for a moment, and now Southern's going to look for a short lead or two. Garlic trying to drift up. Koloniuk wide. Hudson's there. Cox also. Now he's going to go for long and distance here, Southern. It's a long, high kick just offline. Ruse gets back. The trusty hands of Ruse, and he takes the mark.
He's just a genius, isn't he, Paul Ruse? I mean, how many games has he played now, Bruce? Well over 300, isn't it? Fantastic performance, and he's still a very, very good contributor. The Swans combine out there on that left half back flank. Luff, very well played by Kelly. Catch him if you can, Libba. Probably impossible. Liberatore taken out of it there by Dunkley, and the kick forward has been missed by a big margin. Has missed everything, hit the behind post. Well, Dunkley has to have run about 120 metres to get into that situation.
Sensational.
To support
that's
the
what
player.
teamwork's all about,
Yep.
Robbo, in a situation like that. And that did hurt Liberatore. He's limping on his left side, whether he's got a corky or an ankle because of that Shepherd.
And I think the cheers and jeers from the fans would have hurt him a bit too. And he gets up a little gingerly. He's being attended to by the trainer. We'll have another look at this bump. There's Kelly with the footy. And watch this support Shepherd. Well, he looks as though he may be coming towards the bench. Is it a blood rule because player's been halted? No. They're all clear for the boundary umpire to throw it in. And Lipper has shrugged the trainers and back into the action.
So Darcy goes up, punches back towards the boundary line, and once again there's run over, and just about felt that from the commentary box up here. He really was poleaxe, wasn't he? But a lesser bloke probably would have gone to the boundary line, come off to the bench, but Libba, as we've come to expect, he's just grit and determination as the ball comes in again. Clean possession by Bayes, running on now Maxfield, the favoured left boot. Stafford's there, so's Plugger, dropping into the hole, and a free kick has been paid to the big fella.
Yep. Certainly scragged in that contest.
And no doubt about that lady being a Tony Lockett fan. Actually, that's the lady who makes or brings the cake and Tim Tams for Dipper.
Good person to know.
So Tony Lockett
Jeez.
going for number 3.
It's going to make it hard if he kicks this, isn't it, for the doggies?
Pretty well impossible. The fact that they've only kicked 4 goals now, and they'll have to kick 12 and keep the Swans goalless for the rest of the game. It's a big ask.
So this for 10 in 2 weeks for Plugger. He's currently leading the goal scoring as it is. And get the pen ready to mark it down for a major for the Swans. He kicks through. And that's number 11.
OK. Can you read the 4th line for me?
P-O-K-T.
Keep going right to the bottom.
O-T-Z-M-L P-D-R-S-O-C S-R-C-E-T-D-P.
Good.
Made in Australia, printed by Jerry's Printing. Your watch is a Rolex. It's water resistant to 100 metres, but it's a fake. There's only one L in Rolex.
All my life, whatever I do.
Big margin now. Swannies really stretching the doggies. Looks like the Swannies will be top of the table after round number 5. The only unbeaten team left. Something had to give in this round. We had to have a winner out of Hawthorn and Brisbane, and we had to have a loser here. Ramiro to half forward. Southern, McPherson. The handball wide was okay to Luff. They're playing confidently. G. Wolf had good vision there to Luff. Luff off one leg. to Nixon. They've got a panic here. Use Creswell. No, yes. Goes back, slowed it down. They've used the 1-2 beautifully to Nix. Created space. Nix's kick. This is interesting. O'Loughlin, clever. Got him. Holding the footy. I was going to say very, very clever. That's a good tackle by Croft. O'Loughlin could see Lockett on his own in the square, was looking for the handball, but Croft committed himself to the tackle. Well played at the back by the defender.
Certainly was determination by Croft, because if O'Loughlin shrugs the tackle, certainly a Swans goal. That kick out wide has been touched, has it, by Curley? No, over on the full. So the free kick to be taken out there by Barry. Kicks back to O'Loughlin on his own. He could really create the situation. No, he's going to go back. If he'd have forced himself forward, he may have sucked the defender, and Lockett was there for perhaps an easy goal from the square. O'Loughlin now, distance would not be a hassle here for a player of Michael O'Loughlin's quality. He's kicked 3. The margin, 43 points, a statistic that was made evident by Mick a few seconds ago with the fact that these games do prove to be a blowout. He's hit the post. So 3 goals, 1 to Michael O'Loughlin.
Robbo, some more bad news for the Western Bulldogs. Paul Dimatin has come off the ground with what looks like a shoulder injury. I mean, he's one of the best runners in the Bulldog side.
So under 5 minutes left in this third term. Leon Cameron to bring it in for the Bulldogs. Goes short, finds Darcy. Not much on offer at this stage. Another short pass running into Montgomery. A good pair of hands. Took a screamer earlier in the day. Close attention from Luff. Now the Doggies need to mount something. Romero there crumbing. Comes to ground. Leon Cameron forces it over. Boundary throw in at the centre wing. Romero's been impressive, hasn't he? He's had a great game.
Western Bulldogs goalless so far in this third term.
As the skipper looks on with Dimatina, Liver at the bottom of the pack, fires a handball out. The man we've just been talking about, Romero, is looking for options up forward, and a fantastic strong mark taken by Simon Cox.
He certainly worked hard as Jose Romero all day. He's tried to get in and under at the packs. He's pushed back in the defensive part of the ground. He's tried to create run and overlap all day. He certainly needs more support in that particular part of the game.
Classy left footer. Knows how to kick a goal, but not on this occasion. They have wasted some opportunities in this quarter, the Doggies. Another behind. The score 4-8-32, trailing 11-10-76.
Haven't had much to cheer about, have they? That's one of my little mates in the background there. He's travelled up from Melbourne. One of the Bulldog supporters. They haven't had much to cheer about, Nick.
No, they certainly haven't, and that was their 5th point for the quarter. They certainly do need a goal, because no doubt in the players' minds, the immediate loss of last year, 97-point loss, the last time they played up here, will be in the forefront of the players' minds.
So 50 to Roos. It was one of those quarters they probably needed to go forward half a dozen times and kick 4 or 5 goals. And they've gone forward that many times and they've just missed it. And the 2 or 3 of them have been not all that difficult. So Roos going very wide. He's had a lot of the footy today, Roos. He was matched up with Cox after Cox came onto the ground early when Cook was injured, and Rocket Eade was desperate to get Roosy sort of on his own and in that free-wheeling position, and he was able to manage it, and Roosy got a whole lot of the footy in the middle part of this match. Bays with him, Darcy. Cook's hands were good. Philandia centres the ball inside. Kelly couldn't quite liver with him. Ball goes to ground. Cameron off the ground. Johnson there goes to ground. Orchard on top of him, pushes forward. Johnson to Darcy, to Romero. Romero wider still to Garlick. Garlick at centre wing. High ball to centre half forward. Roos on Southern at the moment. Good stretch by Southern in the front. Roos at the back. Nicks quickly onto the boot. Belts it back, but only as far as Cameron, who's in the defensive part of the centre square. Punches wide. Collingwood. Wharf. Oh, magnificent defensive play by Wharf, and then hurled them up. Luff, this is good football to Stafford. This is exciting stuff. Stafford out wide. He's got Kelly. Now he might take Ellis on here. Will he draw him? No. He goes to O'Loughlin in a one-on-one. Curley with him. Philandia tries to get a boot, and Johnson pushes forward. What about Wharf at the back there?
Bruce, there will be a stretcher called. Liberatore's no doubt done a knee, and just while that flow of the play was on, the immediate contest when Kelly and Liberatore went for that mark, I dare say it's his left knee. Sad side.
Kelly, he's played 165 consecutive matches, this bloke. I mean, that's a fabulous performance. This is Oh, poor little fella.
Immediately grabbed the left knee, I think, Bruce.
Well,
stretcher has come out.
Let's hope that the big crowd here give him a decent send-off in a way, because obviously he's been a focal point. He's been the villain in a roundabout sort of a way with Kelly for a while now, but poor little liver.
Well, sport is about character, isn't it, Bruce? And you can never deny anyone who has the commitment and dedication to their sport. Someone like Liver, I mean, he's... I mean, whatever the case, you just can't deny the fact that he gives 100%, doesn't he, Robbo?
Oh, no doubt about that. And
Robbo,
tenacious little bloke.
He's short.
Oh, that's a bit rough.
It is sad. He's a man of extreme passion. He survived basically because of his instincts. He had to change the way he's played.
That's
he certainly survived because of that.
Give him a hand.
That's good.
We'll have another look, Mick. There's a real... This is typical of him and Kelly. I mean, arm in arm, going for the ball, and done the knee there. Robbo, we saw a game Friday night where everything went wrong for West Coast in terms of the interchange. They ran out of players, and now the Doggies today, they've had a lot of problems, and they Dimartina, Liver, which looks very serious. Another angle here of the incident. And
yeah, it's bad news. Wirra, I think,
and Cook,
you mentioned
they're down
Cook,
to 18.
Yeah.
And this is a big blow.
And they trail by 43 points, so very, very ordinary signs for the Western Bulldogs.
Gee, this
and
is
that's
really
good to see. They're giving him a good round of applause coming off the ground. That's what it's all about.
I think all in all, Australian culture revolves around people who are prepared to have a go, Brooksy.
Yep.
And Livatore is certainly one of those people who are.
He'll never go down wondering, will he?
Oh, he's a competitive man.
So the poor little fella for the Doggies there, who's given them so much. Liver off the ground there. Start tagger, and this is Kelly. Some irony in all of this, because Kelly loose now to Stafford.
Smart kick.
Yeah. See, the game's just falling away everywhere for the Doggies. It's their worst nightmare come true now, isn't it?
And there's that set play again, Robbo, as we spoke about the last couple of weeks. Luke Darcy went to do the ruck work, and Stafford pushed forward, and here it is, got a shot on goal. Great setup by Kelly.
He's been a very, very valuable player, Stafford, today.
30 metres out. He's got his first for the day.
Aussies beware, the grim reaper of Aidensfield cometh.
Sign the Crows.
You'd think a couple of true blues would recognise a shark.
We must be related.
So what does that make us? The Con is on, in Heartbeat, Monday 8:30 on 7.
Then, at 9:40 on The Beggar Bride.
The thought of anyone getting out this filthy hole makes me happy.
A shot at having a fortunate life could ruin those that she really cares for.
Probably going to be traumatised for life.
Heartbeat and The Beggar Bride, Monday on 7.
So the depleted Bulldogs line up. They're now forced to put Paul Dimartina back onto the full back line. Stafford to go for the centre ruck contest with Darcy. Kick forward again by the Swans to left half forward. They're a chance to score. No, they just can't quite swoop on it. That was Bays. Kicked away by Cameron. Close to the line, Cresswell gets it back to Kelly. Kelly quickly onto his boot. Kicks into the pocket. It may have gone out on the full. It has. So the free kick will be taken back there by Ellis.
I dare say we'll see a spring in Paul Kelly's step now, knowing he might have a bit of vacant space to run into.
You reckon he might breathe a bit easier bit there?
No doubt about that, Robbo.
So inside 2 minutes now, this third quarter. The sting starting to go out of this game. They'll fight it out, though, the Bulldogs. That's the only way they know how. Tied up there is Simon Garlick. And we'll have a ball up left half forward for the Sydney Swans.
Michael Martin's now got the job of Paul Kelly. Good learning tool, a
Darcy
learning chance for him.
And Bays in it. Snapped by Bays on the left boot. Getting back is Garlick, heading for the boundary line. And inside the last minute, Darren Creswell maybe having a slight injury there as the skipper, Scotty Wine, is preparing to come back on. They really don't have too many options, the Bulldogs. Bays and Darcy to do the ruck work. Time ticking down, comes to ground. Philandia crumbing very well, but he was under the pump. And we're edging towards the end of the third term. 82 plays 33. And once again, Bays and Darcy do their best. Front position, but Bays has a sit on the back. This time we'll have a ball up 25 metres out from the Sydney Swans goal.
Just as that ball was thrown in there, Brooksy, they made a swap. Michael Martin's gone to Philandia, and now Brad Johnson's got the job on Paul Kelly.
Bays and Darcy again comes to ground. Bulldogs, they do come clear through Johnson. Johnson finds, and a terrific mark by Montgomery. Gee, his hands have been sensational, haven't they, today, Bruce? He's just been a bit of a find for them.
6 marks.
Yeah, and one that was unforgettable in the first half. Short to Koliniuk. Koliniuk, poor kick, floating kick. Stafford belts it away. Martin couldn't quite take it. Dimatina chips it. Cut off almost by Orchard. And that was Johnson going forward. He did miss, but that won't count. Oh, what a quarter of footy. We saw Kelly reported. We saw Liberatore taken from the ground with what to be a very, very serious knee injury. And we saw the Swans kick 5 goals to nothing. The first time this season the Bulldogs have had a scoreless quarter in terms of goals. And the match really blown apart now. The Swans right on top at 12-10 to 4-9.
Yeah, well, Bruce, I think that just typified also the importance Chris Grant is to this side. So many times we've seen stagnant play coming across half-back where they kicked to a contest mark, they looked up in the front half and they see no movement whatsoever. Danny Southern tried to provide that for about a 3 or 4 minute period, did get his hands on the ball regularly, but as we see going to the 3/4 time break, it's Sydney 12-10-82 leading the Western Bulldogs 4 goals 9-33.
Swans 12-10 lead the Doggies 4 goals 9. So a big margin here. Now the other 2 matches that are currently in progress, the quarter time scores, Melbourne lead Port Adelaide at the MCG 3-6-5 behind, and St Kilda and Carlton at quarter time. The Saints have got a good lead there. They're 5-3 to 1-4. Dipper's down on the boundary line with the champion for the Doggies out suspended today, Chris Grant. Dipper.
Thanks very much, Bruce. Things don't go for you today. Everything against you today.
Yeah, it's been a little bit disappointing so far. We haven't used the ball so well, and that was a really critical quarter for us, and we just didn't get the score on the board, and the Swans did. So I suppose if you're asking for something in the last quarter, it's just to get a little bit of respect back into the team and get a few points on the scoreboard.
And that's something which Terry did talk about, and he just said, well, listen, we can't win this game, but, you know.
Oh, yeah, it'll take something pretty special to win it, but, you know, we're 49 or 50 points down or whatever it might be, and, you know, obviously it's going to be pretty hard to come back from that. So, you know, Plough's message to the boys was just to, you know, get a little bit of respect back. You know, this is a clash between the top 2 teams at the moment, so you don't want to go down by 50 points.
It's always difficult to play up here, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, they've given a couple of hidings up here to us in the last couple of years, and, yeah, we came up here quite confident and it hasn't gone our way today.
Well, thanks for joining us down here, mate.
Thanks, Tipper.
Thanks, Tipper, with Chris Grant. Ramiro's been good. I reckon if I was a movie director and was going to do the next Superman, I'd use Chris Grant as the main role, wouldn't you?
It's a good pick, Bruce. Yeah, very good suggestion.
He's got everything, hasn't he?
Oh, well, he does, and he speaks very well too.
He's got the lot.
Yep.
There's Crofty, he's done all right on the plug. Kelly's had a big day. No liver now for him, and he's had a lot of possessions, Kelly. And the Swans in a winning position by a long street here. So, as Chris Grant said, they've got to salvage something from the wreck here. The Doggies take something back to Melbourne with them. It's a long season. There's going to be plenty of ups and downs, plenty of days where it doesn't work for you. But you've just got to take something home. Johnson kicks to full forward. Maybe an early goal or 2 could make a difference. Dunkley was good there, wasn't he? That was terrific. McPherson to Orchard. They're a hungry lot, the Sydney Swans. They don't want to give anything away. Percentage so important at the end of the year. Garlick runs it over the line. Gee, a home final. We're a long way out, but West Coast are 2 and 3. Adelaide are 1 and 3 going in. Brisbane are 0 and 5. Sydney, one of the few teams, interstate teams, that have got a fantastic record so far, and a home final so important at the end of the year. You can get your way all the way through to the grand final playing at home. Dimatina on the end of a couple of handballs. Kick Scraggy. Dunkley, who's had a very good day, and so has Luff. Luff's kick wide, not so good this time. Cox, Wharf with him. Cox neatly around the corner, and Southern found some space and took a mark.
You know, they're going to get forward, and they're going to get a goal-kicking opportunity here, but Paul Dimatina, the kick forward just a few seconds ago was just very, very average. They haven't got anything out of their players that have been playing well in the 4 weeks, like Dimatina, Rowan Smith, Brad Johnson, etc. The blokes around the middle of the ground that have been playing very good football for them. Ramiro probably an exception from that point of view. 25 possessions to Jose Ramiro.
Creswell's done the job on West, hasn't he?
My word.
So Southern, who missed a couple in the third quarter, he certainly got hold of the footy a lot. That's a good-looking kick. He's kicked the goal.
Hey, cowboy, get a haircut. Oh, look at good day, babe.
So the Western Bulldogs get their 5th goal. They were goalless in the third quarter, so it's been a bit of a drought. Stafford up high, Martin, Dimatina, Wine. So with a bit of precision, they're starting to hit their target, which has been important. They've missed it quite a lot in the first 3 terms. Martin's kicked towards full forward. No mark, the ball spills. Ruse just left it behind. Luff, Dunkley, now Cook off the ground by Cook, back towards the middle. Gathered by Dimatina, back to Wine. Martin, quickly, Martin out wide. The mark taken by Cox. He can kick it forward, and it's not a bad kick either. At the back, the high flyer. Rowan Smith couldn't take it. Trying to snatch it was Johnson, but Ruse, the general, ever the general, gets it over there to Kelly. Back to Ruse. Ruse out wide and has... Well, he did have a player downfield there. He was looking for Maxfield, but he missed him. And the free kick taken by West to Hudson. Hudson short. Garlick is marked within scoring distance.
Well, it's the first stage of the game where they look like they're hitting their targets finally. Both hand and foot. They're starting to get a bit more precision in their game. Admittedly, there's been a bit of space, but finally, the Western Bulldogs players are finally finding their targets.
Could you find that the opposition psychologically could just drop off their momentum when they lead by that big margin at three-quarter time?
You could possibly drop off, but I think Sydney Swans are a fairly committed unit, and they do it for the whole 2 hours of the game.
Good kick by Garlick. He's kicked the Bulldogs' 6th goal.
Sometimes people with back pain are frightened to move because it can hurt. But movement helps the back repair itself and often eases away the pain. Sure, it can be sore, but that's part of the back getting better. You see, hurting doesn't always mean harming. So don't be frightened to move if you have some back pain. You don't want to let your life pass you by.
Endorsed by the Royal Australian College of General Practitioners.
So the Doggies just edging their foot in the door. Be a case of a couple of missed opportunities in the third quarter at the end of the day, but we go at it again in the centre. Romero as usual. West quick. Hands and ball on the foot, and good play by the Bulldogs. Here they come. Dimatina Kolonyuk throws it on the right. He's tackled and committing himself to the ball and getting a good result was Smith forcing it out of bounds for a boundary throw-in.
Brooksy, we've just seen the importance of centre breaks. 3 occasions the ball's gone to the centre square. 3 times the Western Bulldogs players have got it forward. So important on a small ground, or any ground for that matter.
So the Bulldogs working hard, right forward pocket. Troy Luff doing the ruck work for Sydney. All tied up, will be a ball up. Cox in the bottom of that pack has had a pretty impressive day.
Could it be an interesting finish if they get the next goal within the next minute and a half? It's only 5 goals.
Yeah, it's not much in modern day footy. What's that wind like down there, Dipper?
Yeah, still very strong though, Mick.
Favouring the end Western Bulldogs are going to?
That's right.
15 metres out from the Bulldogs' goal. Good clearance. Hudson onto the boot and running it over. So another boundary throw-in is McPherson.
I'm a firm believer in situations like this. When you are behind on the scoreboard, you have to try to manufacture some space. Get your midfield players away from this contest. Get your good in tight, close checking players in close so you can try to manufacture a goal.
So comes to ground. Dunkley, clever over the head, comes to Roos. He's tied up. And once again, we have a ball up. 16 minutes left in the final term. On a picture-perfect day here in Sydney. Moving through Hudson. Southern does the ruck work, goes up against Luff. Troy Cook runs onto it, should clear off the deck. Matthew Nix in pursuit of him is Southern, goes to the open spaces. Greg Stafford and Wind will do some heavy work there. Big Shepherd gets the handball away and run over the line by Matthew Nix.
You just witness the great balance and poise of Stafford. Great agility, first of all, to pick the ball up at ground level, but to ride the bump and keep his awareness and presence of mind. Oh, he's a terrific player.
Martin's a Dent. Dent to half forward, wanting Hudson to run onto it. Hudson's got McPherson. He went to ground. McPherson with him. McPherson looking for a free kick. And it's going to be a bounce. The official attendance today, 36,505. It's a great crowd. It's a bit misleading. They've had 10,000 more than that into a footy game when Geelong came here last year. It's pretty hard to imagine where they could fit them in, isn't it? I mean, it looks
There's a few sardine kids around there, Brett.
It's a good crowd, but a good response here. Armac keeps it in play, kicks to centre wing. Good bounce for Dent. Dent to Ramiro. Ramiro wide, misses West. And boundary throw in.
Sorry, Bruce, I've just checked up on Tony Liberatore. Unfortunately, he has a serious knee injury. I don't know the extent of it until they get him home, but that is just bad news for the little battler. He's a great player, isn't he?
Yeah, no doubt about that. We all feel for him. Garlick gets it from Ramiro to fall forward. Smith at the back. With him is Duckley. Smart play by Smith to Southern free kick, surely against Roosie that time.
Hey, Bruce, let's go out on the end of the plank here. If he kicks this goal, the way they've gone so far in this last quarter, they could win the game. It's not impossible.
There's Southern's with Roosie. No, you're right, Robbo. I mean, they're suddenly closing up. Dimatina off the ground with that shoulder injury. Darcy back on. Southern from point-blank range gets his second for the last quarter, and it's back to a 5-goal game. No.
A real estate agent. I love his wee office. Thanks to Telstra, he can take a digital photo, put it in his computer, write his valuation, send it off on the internet, all on his mobile phone. Here, man. I love it. I am consumed with admiration for the Telstra people who set up these mobile offices. To be quite honest, it's not my cup of tea.
Well, Danny Southern, who started in the defensive half, has kicked 2 goals for the Western Bulldogs to just give them some sniff here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. The match between the 2 undefeated teams before today. Stafford, Rose in the finish, his own ruck contest. Back goes Dent, gathers, tries to shrug the tackle. That's a bit ambitious, but gee, was lucky he wasn't penalised. Cresswell gives away a little bit of ground. Cook out wide, missed his target by a big margin. Gathered by Dent, a flying left foot kick by Dent in the Montgomery area. Back goes Luff, the ball bouncing awkwardly. Out comes Southern, creates a contest. Ruse along the ground will get it back. Handball over the top to Cook. Cook on centre wing for the Swans. Goes in towards the half-forward area. O'Loughlin in front, the mark taken by Stevens. Certainly a mark, 2 grabs at it, but John Stevens has got the football. He's 50 metres from goal, and no one back there really to kick to, and so he'll go long. Scotty Wine getting back. Plugger! Got his hands on it. Couldn't control the ball. Bays. Now Martin for the Bulldogs. Down the line goes Martin. Gathered, no, not quite by Michael O'Loughlin. Just slips out of his hands and over for a boundary throw-in. So a bit of excitement back into this match. We've got 13 minutes left. There's plenty of time to kick 5 goals, but they've got to be unanswered goals if the Bulldogs are to snatch this game. It's a big ask, but it's certainly feasible. Ellis off the ground, back towards the middle of the ground. A disputed ball, gathered by Hudson. They'll go down the ground here, the Bulldogs. Hudson's kick will find its target, and it's Southern.
And Paul Roos looked to be struggling a little bit there. Southern's definitely lifted. He's dominating across the half-forward line, over the head of Darcy. Dunkley is in maintenance mode. He's collected late by Darcy as the ball goes over the line, but back in the attacking zone for the Bulldogs.
One thing about the Western Bulldogs, Brooksy, they are a fit team. They've been said that they've done the hardest 2 pre-seasons in a row collectively, each player, and they will never give in without having a red-hot go.
That's exactly right, a quality. But they do go for everything. Darcy, balls come to ground, maybe a free kick for Ruse, not given. On the bottom, Johnson fished out the handball with Southern, forced across the line for a behind. And they have lifted, haven't they? And a lot of it generated from Danny Southern.
Well, they've levelled the behinds tally. It's just the 5 goals they've got to pick up now.
Suddenly they feel as if they've got a chance.
Yes,
That's
well,
the difference,
I
isn't
think
it?
it's a good feeling.
The liver took the heart out of them, didn't he, for 5 or 6 minutes? I know they were well behind at that stage, but that really broke their spirit for that short time. And now they give themselves a hope. Stevens at half-back. As you said, Robbo, the key is that the Swans can't kick a goal. One goal would just about seal it for the Swans. Orchard on the inner dose to Stevens. Stevens taking a wind on. A bounce. It was an awkward one. A floater to O'Loughlin. Good enough to mark it. 70 metres from goal. Lockett's in the square. O'Loughlin will size it up. He'll go long and float it to the big Plugger. Plugger! That's what they wanted.
And Croft realises the one that got away, Mecca.
Well, hard to hold your ground in that situation.
I reckon the ball swung both ways in flight too. At one stage, Matthew Croft looked as though he was on the right side of Plugger, and the ball seemed to swing back towards the middle of the field, which advantaged the big full forward.
It certainly has gone left to right all day, Robbo, and Lockett's been well aware of that because that's where he's positioned himself most times in that part of the ground.
And Mickey, Lockett can turn what's been not a bad game into a really, really handy game if he kicks this. Big mark, big goal when it counts.
Yeah, for sure, Bruce.
This really to make it almost impossible for the Doggies if he kicks his fourth. He's done it. It's a big play by a big man.
Tonight on 7.
We have 21.
The network television premiere.
You've won how much? $93,000.
50 million people watched it happen.
You lose when I tell you to lose.
But no one saw a thing.
Dick thinks 21 is rigged, is it?
The incredible true story about the King of Quiz.
Instant fame. Would you do it?
And the scandal that shocked America.
I have you.
Rafe Fiennes in the most compelling movie of the year. Toyota presents Robert Redford's acclaimed quiz show. Tonight, 8:30 on 7.
So back out to a 6-goal advantage for the Swans. Supporters delighted with that effort by their bulky full forward in Tony Lockett. He's kicked 4. Wine gets it down. Kick forward by Johnson. Centre half forward, Southern. Up high, couldn't take it. Colin out wide, Hudson. Going for goal, Paul Hudson. He's put it through. 5 goals the margin once again. They will not lie down, so the game's still to be won by the Swans. 13-10 plays 8-10.
There's the importance once again, Robbo. Firstly, getting the ball out of the centre square, but more importantly, Danny Southern here, he really goes at this contest. My ball comes to ground because of him providing that clash of bodies in that part of the ground. And the ground level support was there, quickly handballed out to Paul Hudson. And as we know, in a situation like that, Paul Hudson doesn't miss them very often.
So just over 11 minutes left. Paul Hudson's 302nd career goal. And very important too, they didn't chew up any clock, did they, in replying?
No,
it was
30 seconds.
So Stafford and Wind. Stafford gets the ball, but it's going to be another ball up.
He's been terrific, that fella there for the Bulldogs. Ramiro, 27 possessions to that player.
Once again, we go back at it at the centre of the ground. Comes free. Scott Wind running onto the ball. He's tackled by Kelly. Smith is in hard and very scrappy, desperate football. And once again, a ball up. And plenty of pats on the back for Mooney. He loves the hard ball, Jason Mooney.
Here's his situation again. Stafford's pushed forward. Mooney's directly opposed to Scott Wine. Craig Ellis has picked up Greg Stafford in the forward 50.
So Wind and Mooney. Wind takes clean possession. Can't get boot to ball though. Run off by Stevens. Stevens looking for Stafford and spills off the ground. Very, very well done. Armat runs onto it. Smith is chasing him. Collinup there for support to try and put the tackle on, but he gets around. Kelly has the sit, but big Scott Wine drifting back takes a strong and courageous mark for the Doggies.
Dent's got it. Dent kicks the ball to Ramiro at centre wing, wants a good bounce here with some pace. Run down almost by Nix, gets his kick down the ground. Is it to Hudson? Well, big call.
This game is far from over.
Actually, Bruce, the free kick was given for in the back, but because it was an advantage, Hudson took the mark. That's where the kick will be taken from.
Well, this is a big kick for a specialist goal kicker. You mentioned a moment ago, Mickey, he doesn't miss too many from the situation a moment back. As Robbo said, kick this, and we've got a real match on our hands here. A lot of pressure on a very experienced goal-kicking half-forward type. Leans back. He's got it, I reckon. He's second. This is a big finish.
It's the secret disease of the 90s, affecting almost 1 million Australians.
It's classic bulimia.
Tuesday, Kim Wilson guest stars as a girl with an astounding secret.
Just hate myself.
It's okay. And what's wrong with the new doc?
You're allergic. I owe you one.
Will Steph find out before she hurts someone?
I'm so sorry. Doctor!
Or even herself?
Do you really want to die today?
Get ready for some surprises Tuesday on All Saints.
Well, Mick, before the game, you showed me a stat that Paul Hudson averages nearly 2 goals a game. He's got his 2 goals. If he can add to that in the remaining 10 or 11 minutes, well, they're going to go forward again, the Bullies. Leon Cameron, and he's spotted a player, and he's done it pretty well. Johnson it is. Johnson goes across the half-forward line. And at the back, Hudson nearly got it. Gathered by O'Loughlin. Orchard under pressure, but does well. Hand pass at the feet of Rowan Wharf. He's able to gather. Then a rather ordinary kick. A brilliant gather by Curley. Curley goes to half-forward, and it's a Bulldog mark. It's Montgomery. He's got a player on his own. There's some urgency here for the Swans, because if Steve Collinghute can kick this goal, it is 18 points the margin. 8.5 minutes left. Plenty of time to kick 3 goals, Michael, in this modern football.
For sure, Robbo, but it's all being brought about. The Western Bulldogs players are started to run. They're prepared to take risks, use the ball inside, trying to go a direct path as possible towards goal. And here's a chance for Collingwood, a much-needed one. And he's
put it through. So the Bulldogs have made a real game of this. The 6 matches that have been played between these 2 teams that have resulted in 3 wins to Sydney and 3 to the Western Bulldogs on this ground have all been big margins, Michael, and the Bullies have pulled it back to 18 points.
Yeah, they've certainly been terrific in this last quarter, Robbo. They've really started to work. The intensity's lifted, the momentum's certainly there with them, but it's been the blokes inside the centre square. Firstly, Scott Wynn getting it down to ground level, but the Johnsons and the Ramiro, who's been good all day, and West, they've all started to lift. It's been the peripheral blokes who are on the outside of the square. They've really tried to get involved in the contest.
So back at it, the crowd senses we've got a game on our hands. Once again, it's going forward for the Bulldogs. Cox quickly onto the left boot, looking for Southern and Montgomery. Dunkley clears and finds the boundary line. I tell you what, if the Doggies end up getting up, I reckon they'd want to chair Jose Romero off the ground.
If you went back to the start of the quarter and you said it was X amount of minutes and they've kicked 6 goals so far, 3 goals in 8 minutes is not impossible.
So left half forward for the Doggies. They're on the move, and a prime mover is West. Throws on the left boot, centering kick, and looking for Hudson. And what's he called? It's a free kick, and here we go again. You'd back him in to go for number 3.
But the umpires won't get off the ground. It's 30 free kicks to the Western Bulldogs, 11 to the Swans.
He was certainly there, though, retarded by McPherson on the... Even though he had the front position, Hudson, it was certainly a free kick.
So pressure does mount. Paul Hudson, you wouldn't probably want it to be with anyone else at the moment. Off the boot, looks pretty good. Danny Southern's given it the all clear. The Doggies are coming home.
This week, the love drug.
Made me feel like I was 20 years old again.
The pharmaceutical phenomenon set to sweep the world.
How does it feel to have your sex life back again?
Feels great. It's a miracle drug.
Also, avoiding home hazards.
Biggest thing happens to little old ladies is a fall.
How learning to fall could save your life. Plus, the Bombers' secret weapon.
No, not the shorts. The shorts are good. No, it's not the shorts.
Essendon's real power revealed this week on Today Tonight.
Can you believe it? Well, if you've left for a few moments and come back, it's 13 to 11. 2 goals to difference. Plenty of time. 7 goals to 1 in the last quarter. And Hudson's kicked 3 in a hurry. Creswell, somebody's going to have to do something for the Swannies. Cameron, this has been terrific by the Doggies. Curley up high. Wharf and Wine. Wharf, that was big. Forward. Oh, clever by Stafford to fall forward. A big play coming up one way or the other. O'Brien tried to get it. Kelly was superb. High tackle. Well done, Captain. They needed something extra and they got it there.
The Curley kick, Bruce, when he was probably not under a great deal of pressure, straight up in the air. He didn't quite get the ball further down the ground to put the Swans back under pressure.
Big play by Wharf, wasn't it? To build it forward. Stafford was clever. O'Brien had half a go, and then Kelly was able to hold it in here under the pressure and drew the high tackle. Got to kick the goal now. So Lockett got one. Can Kelly get the next one?
Ooh.
He's missed it. So the doggies are alive, and they're letting him know.
You can only say that that breeze that's blowing across the ground has been of great concern for the players all day, shooting for goal.
13-11 to 11-10.
Could be a telling behind that.
3 kicks needed for the doggies to win, but plenty of time to set all of that up. Now, the umpire, Goldsmith, talking to Kelly with the blood rule now. Kelly's going to have to come off with the blood rule. So the game will be held up. It's going to come back. Paul Kelly coming from the ground.
How many times have we seen that, Bruce? Paul Kelly coming off with the blood rules.
Normally on his left knee, isn't it? But and I reckon it might be there again.
On this occasion, Liberatore can't be blamed for it.
We often see him come off left knee, and it is his left knee. You'll see it there again. Obviously got a scab and scar there, and down again. So, Robbo, you called this one early in the last quarter, and we've got a big finish here, 13-11 to 11-10.
Well, I think that the Bulldogs are to be complimented no matter what the result is. It is important in a game of football that you fight it out till the siren sounds. And it's still there to be won, no doubt about that. Cresswell with the football close to the line, kicks it back to Nilly. Oh, there's a free kick. Yeah, blatant free kick there. And no point in booing because it is with the Bulldogs to be taken by Todd Curley. Curley goes wide, player on his own, the sun right in his eyes, but he does well out there, Craig Ellis, and he's marked, not quite up to the wing, he plays on, gets underneath it a little bit once again. Danny Southern provides the contest, it's still there. Cook, handball over the top, O'Loughlin quickly, no one in particular, spinning out of trouble, well played Simon Garlick. Well played, they've gone forward again, Ramiro West, down goes Leon Cameron, down goes Leon Cameron, and misses. By gee whiz, the Bulldog supporters watching on television, watching here, would have raised the roof if he'd have managed to slot that one through. The behinds are level once again. The Bullies trail by 2.
Just gone soft for a minute, Sydney, haven't they?
Yep.
In the one-on-ones, they've gone soft on it.
I was just about to mention that, Bruce. You know, we're in close. It's been the Western Bulldogs players have certainly had that intensity to get the ball in their hands first.
It really is turning into a top-of-the-table clash now as the Sydney Swans try and clear. And all in it comes to ground. Dunkley ends up finding Roos. He's under enormous pressure. Philandia's going to get the footy, but coming through is Curley and really giving him something to go on with. Free kick to the Sydney Swans as he's collected very heavily and goes long and using his body very well is Mooney. And Sydney trying to mount something now. Get some momentum back into this game. Stafford sweats back, takes the mark. Probably want to chew up some clock.
Trying to gain some yardage as well.
And he did. He got 2 metres.
He's a thumping kick at times. You know, this is not beyond him. He could thump this through.
He's kicked 1 already.
As the captain comes back on, you'd want him on at a crucial stage of the game. And it's kind of been a bit of a frustrating day, I guess, for Greg Stafford. It's kind of been patchy, I think might be a word to describe it, but he can really cover himself in glory here, go long. And would it be the sealer, Robbo, if he kicked this?
It would be very difficult, but down to 4.5 minutes left now.
So leans back, has pushed it right.
Sorry, Robbo's the minister of those things at the moment. Anything like that, we're going to go to Robbo, just get his opinion on it. So 13-12 to 11-11. We can safely say, Robbo, without going through you, as we see Schwass there on the interchange, that this game is very much alive at the moment.
My word, Bruce,
Thank you, Robbo. So it's 13-12 to 11-11. Stafford, long kick missing. He's had 4 shots for goal for 1 goal. Now, the Doggies have got to construct something here, don't they? They haven't got a whole heap of time, but they've got enough if they can be clean. That's a great long kick to centre wing, but just as importantly, a very big mark by Stafford. He's got a couple of options, but he's not going to take, he's going to not waste any time there. He's got Stevens very wide. He decides not to go there. He pushes it cutely to Orchard. Orchard makes some space. Now Orchard with a little bounce. He's been helped by the Shepherd. Oh, that's not a good kick. Inside, Ramiro had a high tackle, not paid. West, just a laziness about the Swans for the moment, not working hard enough. West kicked to Southern. Can Southern get to a bouncing ball? Can Montgomery get to it and make it work for him? Back to Southern. Southern to Koliniuk. He's a goal kicker. He's 50 metres out. Good tackle. He took 1 step bit too often. The kick off the ground by Luff was important. Taken by McPherson. Handball was good. O'Loughlin to Ahmad. Ahmad will go wide to Kelly. Ellis with it. Kelly did it beautifully. Kelly's inside 50. He can seal it, the captain. Wobbly old scrubby kick and misses. It's a behind. 91 to 77.
And that's the importance of turning the ball over. When you turn the ball over, when you're crossing your 50-metre area, it's so important that you hold possession. And as we've seen then, Sydney Swans nearly went forward and kicked the probably sealer for the match.
So the kick in by Todd Curley, straight down the ground. They really have to take possession here, the Bulldogs, but they're not going to. It'll be the Swans to go forward through Matthew Nix, and it's a good kick too. O'Brien, dragged to the ground there was Orchard, and O'Brien back into it, but the umpire will decide on a bounce.
Just feel, Robert, unless Sydney do something spectacular in the next 2 minutes, it's going to be a hollow victory. So, you know, Terry Wallace and his team have really achieved something in this last quarter.
No doubt whatsoever. I thought when they came up here without Chris Grant that if they could get within 4 goals, they've had injuries in the third term that have really obliterated them. And to the strength of their character, I know it doesn't give you any points, but here goes O'Brien. No, he can't quite get a snap at goal. He gives it back to O'Loughlin. His kick to the front of the goals. Maxfield couldn't take it. Trying to crash through Nix. Snapshot at goal by Nix as a behind.
So the Swans really need a spectacular finish. They need someone to do something super and kick a big goal just to give them a real lift at the end of this match, even though they look as if they've got it won now.
Well, they should win. 2 minutes, 10 seconds left. 15 points. They need 3 goals. The Western Bulldogs, a good kick by Cameron.
Fantastic kick by Cameron. Wind has been paid the free kick. Too high, says the umpire. When you throw in the fact they lost Crediuk on the death knock as well, who's been fantastic the last 2 weeks, it has been a magnificent character-building performance as Cameron goes onto the left boot, pushing forward. Southern's going to be there, backing Pack into a nest of Swans, and they do work it out through Nix. He goes down the corridor, he's going to find Maxfield. Contested by Wine, but running through is Kelly. Still got plenty of spring in the step. He centres the ball, and a clever mark by Creswell. 28 possessions for Darren Creswell, just knocking up, getting the footy. As Mooney centres the ball, and that could be it. O'Brien marking 35 metres out, straight in front.
He's good at these, OB. You'd reckon he'll kick this. First real shot at goal. Kelly and Creswell so important. We saw them involved there, getting the ball out to Mooney. Between them, they've had 26 and 28. They've had 54 possessions, and OB leans back and he does. He kicks it. He's good at those. Well, they needed that one, and I reckon, Mickey, they need one more to go away from this completely satisfied. It's almost as if they've had the game won for a long time, and the Doggies have taken so much from them in this last quarter. They probably need another one to square the ledger.
Yeah, Bruce, for sure. It would have been an interesting contest had of the 5 opportunities in the third quarter that when the Bulldogs went forward and kicked 5 behinds. They only had to convert maybe 2 or 3 of those to be in this game with a real chance. But certainly the Western Bulldogs have controlled this last quarter. It's been 7 goals to 2 at this stage. But it amazes me when a situation like a Liberatore goes down, you do rise to an occasion like that because of the respect you got for your teammate, and quite often you want to rise to the occasion and get something out of the game.
Stafford has been terrific. Cresswell equally as good, if not more so. Orchard out wide. Nix to assess and then deliver. Goes straight into that hot spot, and a good mark taken by Craig Ellis at centre-half back. He plays on quickly. Away to Croft. Croft down the ground. The Bulldogs may get a goal out of this. Martin's got the football. He can bounce in front of himself and a second time if he wishes, but he goes unselfishly, kicks it well to Darcy, right in front, only 35 metres out. So that was the important play from the other team's point of view, Mick. We're talking about the Swans maybe going forward and kicking another goal. This time it's the Bulldogs that get the goal.
Mick, even go back to that third quarter where those 3 or 4 missed opportunities did prove costly for them.
Yeah, for sure. Southern running into the open goal and situations like that, they're the ones you have to kick. But that pattern of play, the build-up there by the Western Bulldogs players, that was probably a direct approach at goal. Martin backed his speed here, got to the sort of 70 metres out from goal. He looked inside, he's seen Darcy was leading into the central part of the ground and used the ball perfectly. Great play by the Western Bulldogs.
8 goal last quarter for the Doggies. It's a very big finish. 14-14 to 12-11. So the Swans, top of the table, 5 consecutive wins. but in a funny way, 2 winners here today, because the Dogs are going to take a lot back with them to Melbourne after this 5th round clash. O'Brien working it in front, still back to O'Brien. O'Brien clever to Creswell, normally accurate from here. Creswell just misses, are behind 14-15 to 12-11. So 5 out of 5 for the Swans. I think in Tom Hafey's reign they won their first 6 back in the mid-80s, the Swans. But this has been a great start for them. And the Doggies, who I think won 9 in a row in the long time ago. But they equalled their second best performance. As the siren sound, Sydney winning today in a strange old game, actually. 14 goals 15 to 12 goals 11. Kelly reported today, liver carried for the ground in a stretcher. Swans unbeaten after the 5th round. 99 to 83.
And good fellowship here, Bruce. I think there's a lot of players from the opposing teams here just having discussions with each other. I think they really appreciate the fight back by the Bulldogs and certainly the Swans hanging on to win the game.
As you said, Bruce, it was a game of mismatches all day, and coaches trying to assert their authority. But above all, I think Bruce hit the nail on the head. There was 2 winners out of this particular contest. The way the Western Bulldogs fought back, the way that Sydney people actually got up.
So the situation here, a number of stations will leave us and go to Adelaide for Adelaide and Geelong. Sydney